my name is Olga Oakley, and I'm from the Hands-On Science Center in Tullahoma, Tennessee, and we are very excited today to be at the Williamson County Public Library for a very special fairy tale science program in accordance with this year's summer reading program, Fairy Tale Science. We are here to teach the kids a little bit about science while having fun and exploring their imagination of fairy tales. Good evening. Tonight we are going to make something magical happen, and we are going to make a little brew, a little witch's brew, and we are going to use it with some potions that we have. So we are going to use a little bit of dry ice and to learn a little bit of science. So dry ice is very, very dangerous, but not for a witch. Hee hee hee. And today we are going to make a potion to make something big. But what can we make big? Well, we have a triceratops right here. But we want this triceratops to take over all of the land. So we have to say a little spell. As the brew is bubbling and bubbling, we are going to first say a little spell. What kind of spell do we need? We need to first pour some bat's blood into the pots. This is bats that I found this morning. Just a little bit goes into the brew. What else does it need? It needs a lizard eye. First we have eyes of a lizard, small lizards, big lizards, some lizards that will eat your head. And then we need a beetle. We need only one beetle, but not a little one, a big one, to make this triceratops very, very big. So this beetle we have right here goes into the pot. And we boil and boil and boil our brew. And we say, grow, grow, grow your triceratops. We made it and we found our dinosaur, and he is very big. Now how did we make it very big? Well, we can talk a little bit about what witch's brew is made out of. It is carbon dioxide. What is carbon dioxide? Carbon dioxide is what we have that we exhale when we breathe in. So dry ice goes through sublimation. Sublimation skips the liquid phase and goes from a solid right into a gas when it meets water to give us our witch's brew. What has happened? My castle is burning. Everyone is in chaos. The village is all on fire. Dragon, what have you done? Why have you caused this chaos? This is preposterous. Well, Princess, I confessed my love to you, and you did not reciprocate. You don't want my heart. How I want your heart, and I want your hand in hand. So I burned the whole village because I am an evil dragon. But dragon, you are not evil. I know you are kind, and I know you have a kind heart. You really are not evil, and you're not even a dragon. I am a dragon. Don't you see my wings? You are just a bearded dragon. Well, what is a bearded dragon, Princess? I am so glad that you asked. This bearded dragon is not a very scary, monstrous dragon that burns down the whole castle like how you see in the back. This is actually a very small reptile compared to many other large reptiles. He can grow about 2 feet long. His name is Spot. He is our bearded dragon that we have at the Hands-On Science Center. what are bearded dragons and where are they from? They are from very desert, very dry lands in Australia. So because he lives in a very hot desert, you can imagine in a desert, that there aren't a lot of animals there, and there aren't a lot of insects. So pretty much Spot and other bearded dragons like him can eat anything that come in his way. He could eat small rodents. He could eat small insects, sometimes bigger insects. At the Hands-On Science Center, he could eat Madagascar hissing cockroaches that are about 2 inches long in a second. And he can live to be about 10 years old. Spot here is about 4 years old. He's very old. And he right here, the reason why he's called a bearded dragon is because this little skin right here, it's called a dewlap. So it changes color to match his surroundings as well. And he could turn black sometimes, and he could puff up very big to scare his predators as well. So he doesn't always have to have these little wings, but in terms of trying to save the princess and burn down the village, we like to make him look more monstrous. But he's a very sweet fellow right here. So for our next part, let's talk about Snow White. What does Snow White do in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs? She takes a bite of an apple and she falls to the ground, and she falls to a stupor and passes out, and she needs to have her Prince Charming come and give her a kiss to wake her up. So what actually happens? How does she actually fall to the ground? Well, if we look from a science point of view, we have to agree that maybe some kind of bacteria that is on her apple, that maybe the apple wasn't washed very well, has been ingested. So Listeria monocytogenesis is a rod-shaped bacteria, like this Cheeto-looking bacteria that's in this big picture. It looks big and scary, doesn't it? But bacteria are actually, and viruses, and many other, and cells and bacteria are very, very small. They look very small and harmless, but they can create a very big impact. So Listeria monocytogenesis can cause meningitis, and a side effect could be a confusion or a stupor to the point of a coma. That sounds very scary for just biting into a maybe unwashed apple. So what would Snow White have to do in order to come back from a coma after falling down to the ground eating an apple that was given to her? She would probably need to have a hefty dose of antibiotics, and it would probably take more than a kiss from her Prince Charming to wake her up from her coma. So a hefty dose of antibiotics would somehow need to be imbued for her to wake up. So here I have my frog that I would love to turn into my Prince Charming. But before I kiss his slimy little skin, what kind of frog is he? I'm glad you asked. He is a Suriname horned frog. So he is from the Amazon basins, from Colombia to Brazil. That's where he lives. He is an amphibian. So an amphibian meaning that he lives inland and on water as well. And he is cold-blooded. He has permeable skin, so I have to be careful and make sure that I don't touch anything dirty or anything with chemicals on before I touch his skin. What does permeable mean? Permeable means that they can absorb oxygen and anything else through the environment right through their skin, and their skin's breathable. And he can live to be about 5 years old, and he gets his name Suriname horned frog from his two little what looks like horns right over his head. So as pretty and as nice of a fellow as he is, I really would much rather him to be my Prince Charming. So I guess I can try kissing him and see if he'll turn into my Prince Charming, but maybe I have to say a spell too, so. Froggerous, turn into my Princeominous. That didn't work. Are you going to turn into a prince? Hocus pocus, turn into my Princeosis. Didn't work either. Okay, well, maybe the fog generator might work. Let's see if that, because I guess kissing him won't work. Where did all these frogs come from? I have one of you. I don't need to have many more. Did I say frog generator? I meant to say fog generator. No. Okay. Get out of here, frogs. Ribbit, get out of here. We're gonna do this again. Okay, off into the forest you go, onto the ponds. Okay, let's try this again. Since kissing you will turn you into a prince, let's press the fog generator. My prince! Finally, my frog has turned into my Prince Charming. So we all know that in Cinderella has to leave the castle at midnight, and she needs to get back into her carriage to get back home before the carriage turns into a pumpkin. And what did she lose down the stairs when she was running back into her carriage? When that clock struck midnight, her glass slipper. First off, maybe, has anyone really heard of actually wearing a glass slipper? I don't know if it sounds too comfortable. Sure looks pretty, but from a physics point of view, could you scientifically actually wear a glass slipper? So when standing, the force acting downward is assuming to be evenly spread out through the whole foot. But when Cinderella is running, it is spread out just on one foot at a time. So first off, for our little princess here, I'm afraid to say that I think this shoe is a little too big for you, so you'd have to size down a bit. But because the heel is very tall, because it is a higher stiletto-like shoe that she had on, it would completely crack from how the force is being pushed down. So unless she decided to opt next time for some flats, or if she decided to wear just maybe a ½ inch heel, there might be a chance that the glass slipper would not break. So we all know about mythology. Maybe we don't know a lot about it, but let's talk about maybe some characters in mythology that we might know about from ancient Greece. So I think we've all heard of Thor and Zeus. So Thor, he cannot throw lightning bolts and thunder strikes the same way that Zeus can. However, Zeus, he possesses his magical hammer called a Mjolnir hammer. So it's this big, massive hammer right here that can produce the same energy and effect that the lightning bolts can produce when he strikes it. So here's my lightning strike. Maybe not as strong as how Zeus would throw it, but I can show you a little bit about how lightning works. So I'm glad you asked. So this is our Van de Graaff generator, and it'll show us a little bit how lightning works. So everyone's seen a thunderstorm. What do we see usually when we have thunderstorms? We see dark, big, gloomy, gray clouds, and they're very, very thick. So on the ground, right here, there's a lot of protons. Protons are a positive charge. And when we have very thick, gloomy clouds right before a thunderstorm, we got a lot of electrons in the clouds. One thing electrons in clouds hate is other electrons. And there's so many of them. They hate each other. They don't want to be there. They want to get out of there. So what happens? So we all know that hot air rises, cold sinks, So as the air is rising and sinking, we have all those electrons in the air and they want to get out of there. So we have lightning. So I don't have a lightning bolt other than my little lightning bolt that I just threw. But we do have a Van der Graaf generator that we could show you. So during a lightning storm, we see lightning strikes. Every inch of lightning produces 10,000 volts per inch. All right, so what's happening with my hair is that we have electrons in this Van der Graaf generator that is trying to leave the aluminum ball, and it's going out right through my hair, producing what's like a lightning strike from a cloud, but just electrons leaving my hair. The belt is representing the hot and cold air that's the hot air that is rising and the cold air that's sinking. And if I'm lucky, hopefully my hair will go down after this, after I put my hand off the ball, and it won't stay like this for 6 months. So right here we have Rapunzel in her tower. And right here she has her Prince Charming all the way on the bottom, and he says, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." And here's her hair. So typically in the fairy tales, he would climb up her hair. "Oh, Rapunzel, I'm so happy that I am up on high on top of the tower with you." But from a physics point of view, can we use Rapunzel's hair to pull up her Prince Charming? Well, I'm glad that you asked. We can if we want her hair ripped out, which I'm sure we don't. So how we could do it is we could just use a little bit of physics and we could save her hair. So blondes on average have 140,000 strands of hair. So on average, a human strand of hair would be able to support about 3.5 ounces, which is the same size as 2 candy bars, if she had her hair positioned in the right way where her Prince Charming could pull her up. But how can we do that? We would have to use another anchor point other than her scalp, or else her hair would rip out. So we could use a pulley system. And this way, this pulley system would save her hair. So maybe instead of this rope, we could use her hair since it's so long, but instead we decide she could save her beautiful hair and we can make a pulley system instead. So how does the pulley work? We have a pulley right here with 2 ropes and a pulley on top and on the bottom. And let's say the prince weighs 100 pounds and Rapunzel would have to pull 50 pounds on the rope, causing the rope to pull 50 pounds everywhere. So if he's 100 pounds and we have 2 ropes right here, 2 pulleys, 50 pounds would have to be pulled right here and 50 would right here, and then she would only have to pull 50 pounds. So she would say, "Prince, come on the come attach yourself to the pulley and I want to save my hair. And I will pull you up." So she will just only have to pull 50 pounds since she has 2 ropes. And then her Prince Charming has made it to the top of the tower. He has made it to the top of the tower and she was able to save her hair. Thank you so much for watching our fairy tale science program. We hope all the viewers had their imaginations run wild with the fascination of fairy tales and learn a little bit of science on the way. We are closed right now to the public due to the COVID pandemic. However, that doesn't mean we're not doing awesome virtual programming and many other ways to keep the public engaged in science. Please check out our Facebook at Hands On Science Center. That's what you search, and you can go to our website at hosctn.org. We are so happy to be here today at the Williamson County Public Library, and we hope to see you at the Hands-On Science Center soon.